So, Andre, tell us a bit more about your role at Reach and how you work with us in the team.
So it's been over a year now, and I come from the industry side and also venture capital. So I bring an interesting blend of experience from a buyer insight essentially, and also the commercial fit for some of these properties. So understanding how the influencing need to happen and understand how the asset owner, asset manager think about these technologies or prioritize it in their organizations. So my role is to really, from a mentoring perspective or a coaching perspective, work with these companies over the program period, not just for strategic introductions, but almost the way I look at it is like relationship building with clients. Like I don't like point selling
Yeah.
to customers. I like to build a relationship because I think people buy from people, and it might take 3 or 4 engagements before they actually start liking the founder or the company or the people in there more than the product, if that makes sense. And then naturally that sort of follows for me, and that can take 2 years. Sometimes it could take a year.
hmm
um, but those relationship buildings are for me the key success and adoption of technology. So that's really what I do. I'm really good at bridging that gap for the companies.
Yeah, you definitely are, and that's how I ended up at Reach as well.
There you go.
um, Obviously we're in sunny Cannes just now for MIPIM. What's your experience been like at MIPIM so far?
Well, the day for me today's so far the best day, right? And we're quite lucky to have
Yeah,
the day at our villa today. I think for me, I've been here a few times now, and this is probably the better one for me because from a preparation perspective, I've learned through the different times attending here, you can't just turn up and expect to get success from it. And then
yeah,
obviously working with you and with Natasha and the team over the last sort of 8 months, really, to plan for this has
yeah,
been really interesting because it helps us prepare for the different events. Like the JLL Innovation event was really good. The Impact House event was really good. And I think it's really important not to spend time with the people you know. So as soon as you
yeah.
see yourself following the same crowds,
It's easy to do.
yeah, it's easy to do because you'll naturally navigate with those people. But I've really forced myself this time to spend time with new
Yeah.
people, and that's been really good, refreshing. So I saw not just from a client perspective, from a buyer side, but also from a potential new companies to invest in next year. I've seen some really good, interesting companies. So yeah, I've had a good experience. I'm looking forward. It's only
Yeah.
halfway in now, so I'm
I
really
know we're
excited.
halfway through the week, Wednesday, so we've
Yeah,
still got quite a lot of events on the calendar to go. So,
yeah.
busy week for us all. Um, and I know you mentioned obviously you've been with Reach over the past year. So, what would you say has been your key moments over the last year of the
So
program?
I I enjoy like at the start. I take a real moment when I meet the companies for the first time. Obviously, we go through the due diligence process where you see them pitch their business,
Mm-hmm.
and then you decide to invest based on who they are in that moment in time. And then it's like the strategy sessions and prep for your big events like the PTC or the agent advisory or commercial advisory or the Google partnership event.
Mm-hmm.
And every one of those was interesting to see how we start day one, and then the support that we give in as a team collectively, and even like the companies listening to other companies pitch at the same time, and see that evolve over time is really nice for me to see. But I'd say some of the highlights was actually when we have these events, and like a couple of weeks later, 2 weeks later, clients that were there would mention these companies' names. Oh, such and such company is really
Yeah.
good, and
And they might not have even known about them at
yeah,
all
and
before, which is
we
nice.
think for me success is customers talking about the problem they solve and remembering their name from attending our events, and
Mm-hmm.
that's really important. You want to be recognised. So that was key highlights for me, and I think the event that I potentially enjoyed the most value from was the commercial advisory
Yeah.
event that we
I was going to
hosted.
ask you about a bit more about that actually, because we worked quite closely on, getting that together for the day, and it was the first time we'd
Yeah,
done something like that. But it actually ended up being one of the most successful events that we'd done that year. So, Yeah, tell us a bit more about it. Like, what's the selection criteria for the panelists on the day, for example?
So the way it was curated for me was like you can go to this MIPIM event as a new startup. And I think this is a true value of what Reach do is you can go to these events and you might spend 5 days meeting different people or different customers, but you don't really know who's the buyer and who's the decision maker and who's the influencer. And it's really tricky to navigate it if you don't really understand that landscape. So what we do is we just select 3 companies. So we don't want to overwhelm the event. So first of all, just pick 3 companies that has maybe a synergy in what they do. So the target companies for that event in this particular event would be a business that solve problems within the built environment. So from a more commercial, so not a non-resi, it's more commercial application. It could be industrial, it could be office, it could be whatever. So selecting the right company for that type of audience, and then in the audience, from a customer perspective, you select someone from an asset owner perspective, a manager, an occupier. So you get all different
Yeah.
perspectives, but also within that ecosystem. There's some people that manage the service charge budget. There's some people that are either from a sustainability perspective, or they might look at it from a regulatory perspective, or they might look at it from a, attracting tenants perspective. There's like very different views. So
Yeah.
we try and get everyone from every part of that
A good
organisation
mix. Yeah.
all in one room. So it's like a 25 people mix of different type of personas, and then it's not a sales pitch. So it's not a the company don't go there and say this is what we do. It's more of a engagement
Yeah.
process.
I think Reach as well is quite big on, not going in and it's never a sales pitch. It's
Yeah,
always, trying to educate and I
correct.
guess promote yourself in a way. But yeah, definitely. Tell us a wee bit more about the format of the day and how that actually works. So obviously we have people come in the morning. It is a morning breakfast event that we did last time, but
Yeah, so it's essentially imagine an auditorium format. So everyone sits in the room, they have little notepads. The company then go out there, and I will sort of like orchestrate a communication to say, right, this is the problem that we're trying to solve with this business. How does that sit in your environment? Is this something that's a priority right now? Is this something that, like, who would actually make those decisions in your
yeah.
business, and who would potentially pay for this? And what do you think is a good price to pay for it? Like, you sit there and ask all these different questions, and what the customers really like is that they're part of solving this. They because most of the time when you introduce companies to customers, they all say, well, it's not really a problem we need right now, or it'll be great if they can do this and blah blah blah. But
Yeah.
you never really get that feedback in one place, really well orchestrated. So it's like a I don't want to use the word workshop, but it feels a little
Yeah.
bit workshopy with everyone's opinions. But you also learn from other customers. So
Yeah.
it could be someone from, I don't know, PGM or Colliers, it could be JLR, whoever. But everyone actually learned from that experience as clients to clients as well, so from peer to peer. So that was really interesting for me
Yeah.
to
And
as a format.
what's the feedback been like? Obviously, they're getting feedback that they might not necessarily get in another type of,
Well,
event. So what's that been like for the companies so far?
so for the companies, I think, like, can you imagine that type of environment where you saw maybe 12 different clients, maybe 12 different personalities or personas, all in 3 hours, right? It could take you 6 to 8 months normally just to try and speak to them individually. And you just capture that in one moment. So the companies itself found really valuable. Plus, we had like the survey that sometimes you don't get the feedback in the actual event. And in the survey, people can reflect on the day and they give maybe a slightly different feedback on who presented the best and what one was stood out for you, sort of thing. So I think that was valuable for everyone to see, as a even the companies to compare their pitch to the others as an example. So I think overall it's really informative for everyone, including the customers, because they felt we were part of the solution. We're not just here to listen.
Yeah.
So it was good, both
You've got an
sides.
extra podcast guest on your shoulder. There's a spider on your shoulder.
Oh, fair enough. Well, I'm from South Africa, so we
Yeah.
attract
True.
animals and
I
insects.
can keep my eyes off of it.
As long as it's not a tarantula, I'm sound.
Um, I mean that's a really good kind of recap on the commercial advisory panels that we do. So, obviously we've got more of them coming up in the year to look forward to. Um, I'll finish off with one last question. Um, what would you say the current industry adoption from a buyer perspective is like at the moment?
It's I think it's evolving. I think
Mm-hmm.
it's changed massively based on, you know, as we know, money's been a problem for for asset owners and managers to understand where to spend it, or they're all sort of holding on to what they should be spending. So naturally, some of the things that's very regulatory driven and that
Mm-hmm.
has very short deadlines.
Yeah.
That's where I see quick adoptions. Like people just don't have a choice.
Yeah.
So we try and encourage our portfolio to sort of like circle in those environments. I see a lot of M&A activity in the PE world currently for early stage startup companies right now. Like the UK, there's like a really big appetite in this. I'd say in the facility management industry for technology led businesses. So there's good appetite that I see in the spaces that I operate in, and I think the shift for me in the buying decision making currently is where companies are actually building this as part of their service model currently into their pricing instead of thinking of this to be sold separately. It's like, all right, okay, let's go to this security business as an example. If you do, say, analytical CCTV analytics as an example,
Mm-hmm.
they would they would try and encourage the service providers to adopt that within their environment.
Yeah.
Same with if it's say an energy efficiency type of related technology, they'll encourage the M&E provider to make that as part of their offering and build it into the contract. So I
Yeah.
think from a buyer side, there's a very there's a different approach now where people are trying to amalgamate things, where it's not just a people offering, it's a
Mm-hmm.
combined people and technology offering in what you do. So
Yeah.
I see there's a big shift there with people pricing things differently into contracts.
Amazing. That's a benefit for our program as well, and the core, the
Absolutely.
upcoming core. It's definitely
So
amazing.
awesome.
Oh, well,
Thank
thank
you.
you very much, Andre.
No
It has
worries.
been lovely to chat to you.
Yeah, you too. Cheers.
Thank you.